Hello and welcome to our second video on grey literature. In this video, we'll take a look at how to appraise grey literature with accompanying recommended checklist you can use to support you when appraising. For more information on types and sourcing grey literature, we recommend you take a look at our introductory video. Now, the main checklist we're going to focus on is the AACODS checklist, which was created by the Flinders University Medical Library in 2010, and it was created specifically to use for appraising grey literature. The abbreviation stands for authority, accuracy, coverage, objectivity, date, and significance. You can find the checklist on the Flinders University website. The only exception is related to unpublished clinical trials, where you may prefer to use a different checklist. We'll come on to this later in the video. So we're going to take a look at the key points for appraising grey literature. You might notice some similarities between grey literature and formally published literature. You may also find, due to the various different types of grey literature, not all these points may apply, but they're here to get you thinking about what makes a quality piece of literature. So first of all, let's take a look at who wrote the article, which could be an individual, multiple authors, or even listed as an organisation name. See if you can find information about the authors and what their qualifications are to write the information. Does it state who they are affiliated with, for example, an NHS hospital or a university? It might be useful here to check their contact details as well. Again, is it linked to an organisation or are they personal details? Can you contact them to find out more information or to clarify any points? It might also be useful to run a quick search to see if the literature has been cited in other places and what other work the author or authors may have written. If it's an organisation listed as the author, what is their reputation? Is it a name you recognise, such as NHS, World Health Organisation or Public Health England? Importantly, make sure to check they've included a reference list and where they've got their information from. There's a chance you may need to appraise these as well. Now, can you detect any risk of bias in the literature? For example, has a study been funded or part funded by the same organisation which has posted the information? Could the information have been distorted to show them in a positive light? Have a look at the style of writing the authors use as well, and does it appear to be emotive? Certain types of grey literature, such as blogs, may be used to push a person's belief, and therefore the information presented may be skewed towards one opinion, omitting important details. Ideally, you want information to present the facts and show a balanced argument. Next, we want to think about the purpose of the literature and its accuracy. Ideally, we want to see clear aims and objectives and, if applicable, an appropriate methodology, i.e., was a suitable methodology used to obtain the results. Linked to this is an inclusion and exclusion criteria. Do they state why they've included some groups but not others? Do you agree with their choice? Does it indicate anywhere that the information has been peer reviewed? Now, this may be less likely to occur in grey literature, but if it does, are those who are carrying out the peer review or the person stated to have checked the information qualified to do so? Now, as with any literature, you also need to consider the basics. Are there spelling or grammatical errors? Can you spot errors or inaccuracies in statistics or information included? How many mistakes are there, and how does this affect how reliable you find the literature? It's always important to check when the information was written so we can see how up to date it is, as well as if it states when the information was last reviewed or updated. Check the date of the references too to see if they were up to date, or if you can see any key articles from that time period that should have been included. Now, lastly, when appraising, you should assess whether the information is relevant to your local context, i.e. can it be applied to your population group or department? Did the grey literature help to enhance information you have found through formally published literature? And did you find it a valuable contribution to that research field as a whole? Now, without unpublished clinical trials, it is likely you will appraise these in the same way as you would a published trial. I won't go into too much detail here as we have separate training available for appraising trials, but I would like to highlight a few key points. There are a number of checklists available for appraising trials. We recommend the CASP UK checklist, and you can also find support via BMJ Best Practice, and this is a resource available with your UHB Open Athens account. So for trials, remember to think about PICO, so this stands for Population, Intervention, Comparison and Outcome. This will help you determine if the trial remained focused on the research question. Check the characteristics of the participants. This is areas like age and sex, and whether they match as closely as possible to each other. If they don't, could this have affected the results? Issues of bias can often appear in trials, so check to see if the researchers use a completely randomised process in order to avoid selection bias. Was the study double-blinded, so neither the researchers nor the participants know who has the intervention or who has the comparison, to eliminate detection bias? Sometimes a single blind study may be necessary depending on the research, for example, to avoid ethical issues, but this can increase the risk of bias. Check if there is a risk of attrition bias. So this relates to participants leaving a trial and the reasons why, or losing participants due to death. How do you think this has affected the results? Do the researchers indicate their protocols for handling this? I'm just going to finish this video by talking about our follow-up support. So UHB libraries are here to help with your critical appraisal needs, and we offer live training as well as related videos and e-learning. We also provide support for literature searching through training or through our literature searching request service, where the library team will carry out the search for you using high-quality evidence-based healthcare databases and email you the results. If you have any questions about literature searching, including grey literature, please do contact your site library. Details can be found on our website and at the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you found it beneficial. We'd like to hear your impact that the training has had for yourself or your department, so do please consider completing our impact survey, which is available on our training page.